What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. So guys, I thought it would be more interactive maybe to show myself at the bottom of the video. Maybe it would be better this way, so let me know if you like the idea or not. But anyway guys, so you know that the new boss that has arrived here is Choi XIV, and it was funny because every time somebody asks me who do you expect to be next, I say, well yeah, it should be either King or Mating Gun. I never expected that it might be Choi. So from now on, we seriously can't expect any boss that will appear in the game. But actually Choi's appearance right now is not bad actually. It's very balanced, and it would be a nice way for people who are still lacking a good DPS maybe to go for him. Of course, we're gonna cover that by the end of the video. So yeah, without further ado, today's character introduction will be for Choi XIV. Okay guys, so as you can see, Choi XIV is an API 15 DPS. If you go to the details, you will see a good crit rate and a very high crit power rate as usual. Now going to the feature, it says Vicious Wound, and now here we're gonna see something new, which is that he will cause a type of wounding to the target in which they will have massive reduction in healing. And of course concentrated attack, because he will be most likely targeting a specific, let's say, column of the fighters all the time. But anyway, so starting with his fates first. First we have Evil Partner, we need Choi XIV, Chang 14, Chang and Choi increasing attack plus 25%. Shorty, we need Choi XIV, Bao and Chin increasing attack plus 25%, and Sunglasses we need Choi XIV, Clark, Mr. Big increasing again attack plus 25%. Pretty easy gate partners, especially if you're going for Chang as well. It will be a great chance to unlock all of his fates. Now, his weapon is called the Refined Iron Claw, and he uses Gale Badge and Judo Tong. Now, going to his fight soul here, it says Magical Viper Soul. Now, gain 40 extra rage when attacking, and gain extra rage when the fighter is dead on either side, so it's a combination of a Snake Soul and a Tiger Soul in one. Now, starting with his skills. Accursed Villain, so the passive, increase own HP drain and crit by 30%, increase own damage and resistance rate by 35% when deployed, as usual. All the attacks ignore the reflection of the target by a certain amount, which is equal to own HP drain. So let's say, for example, if Choi has a 50% HP drain, so he will be able to ignore 50% damage reflection coming from the target. And this is pretty good, especially as a way to counter, for example, Extreme Mr. Karate 2 with his insane damage reflection. So this can come in handy. And all the damage dealt by any skill, ignore the immunity to debuff. We see it a lot lately. Release the small skill the first round Choi XIV is deployed, so small skill is guaranteed in round 1. And all attacks of Choi will come with wound effect. Any type of attack, normal attack, skill or ultimate skill, they will all cause a wounding effect, which will decrease the amount of the HP healed by the target for 40% for 1 round. And if the target is already in the wound state, the wound state will be worsened to Vicious Wound. And this is the real part, because the amount of HP healed will be decreased to 80%, and not only for 1 round but for 2 rounds. So this can become really serious, especially it will be a way to counter healers. Like if let's say the opponent has Superstar Athena, if later on they are using Mating Gun, they won't really do any healing sadly, because this Choi, even API 13 Choi if you remember, he is a counter of healers. So this can also be something. And both Wound and Vicious Wound ignore the immunity to debuff and cannot be dispelled. And that's the annoying part of it, because it's not only that it will be for 2 rounds, but it's also that you cannot dispel them. And most likely this will happen every time he will put this wound on the target. So, Vicious Wound won't be refreshed. And the enemy with Vicious Wound won't be affected by wound while it lasts. Now of course here I suppose they are talking about the stacking. I mean, as long as the target has a Vicious Wound, the wound won't stack with the Vicious Wound, and it will be later on when the target loses the Vicious Wound and then Choi does the attack again, he will cause a wound, and then on the second time he will cause a Vicious Wound again. It just goes this way. Now the good part also here, Choi XIV can protect himself against lethal damage once. Okay, when his HP is below 40%, he will immediately flee and return when round starts. Like Shion, like Geniko, we have seen this escaping and coming back again. So increase on ultimate damage and ultimate resistance by 15% permanently, and so it can't be dispelled, and it can be stacked. And now here we're gonna see why. Restore 300 rage as well, and restore own HP to 50%. which won't be affected by the changes in healing amount. It will be a constant 50% each time. And the fleeing can be activated twice in each battle. That's actually pretty good. So it's not only once, he can escape and come back again twice. This way you can secure that Choi won't really die fast. You will secure that he will be alive for 2 or 3 rounds at least, okay, no matter what happens. And that's just getting back to this part where I said it stacks, so every time he flees and then get back again, he will get a 15% and it will stack, so it can reach 30% at that stage. So interference skill, again, of course, it decreases attack of all enemies for the whole battle. Not only that, but also resistance of all enemies by 10%. And we have seen this new type of interference skill that doesn't only include attack, but also a certain percentage of defense or resistance, which is 10%, as we have seen with Kula before. And of course for 2 rounds. So here it starts at 15% at level 1, and of course it can go higher. So that's pretty much his detailed skill. Going through his lake element, so just to see what changes, what major changes occur in his lake element. So we can see that he will also cause a bleeding effect, not only a wound effect, a bleeding effect, which will cause the opponent to lose 5% HP every turn. And of course this bleeding doesn't make the opponent restore rage. And also the vicious wound will be not only for 2 rounds, but will stay for 3 rounds, so this will become really serious. In addition to that, he will become immune to the effects themselves, so Choi himself will be immune to the wounding and the vicious wounding himself. He will clear debuff when he escapes, and when he comes back, we said that he will gain some buffs, he will gain some HP. In addition to that, he will clean his own debuff. And if there was no skill, if Choi didn't make a small skill or even a basic attack in this round, he will get 20% control free and 50% resistance for 1 round. So imagine if he was paralyzed, for example, and he couldn't make an attack, in the next round he will get more resistance, much more resistance, and some control free. So it's pretty much a good boost that they have gave to him, that they have given to him in the lake element. So yeah, now moving to his minor skill, attack the enemies in a row. If there is an enemy who is in the same column as Choi in the back row and there is no fighter before this enemy, then Choi 14 will attack all enemies in the back row. Now, this part was really tricky because the translation wasn't really clear at all. So from what I've understood, we can imagine it this way. Let's say, for example, Choi is in the back row and we have, for example, Mizuchi in the back row. And the opponent also has Mizuchi in the back row, then this will allow Choi to attack the back row using this skill. That's the way I understood it, and honestly, if somebody has better information when it comes to this part, please let me know in the comments, okay? So yeah, after doing that, so decrease 50 or 150 rage of the target, the enemy in the same column as Choi 14, first, deal extra damage that equals 15% of the target's current HP to the enemies in target row with the vicious wound. So much more additional loss of HP. Increase on damage by 7%, and the chance of casting a small skill will be 15% for 2 rounds, and it can stack for 3 times. So it will be a sum of 21% extra damage and 45% extra skill probability. So not bad. And yeah, just his thunder element, just one major actually addition, which is that if Choi attacks the back row, we have seen again the unclear conditions of how to attack the back row, but if he does attack the back row, after unlocking his thunder element, he will gain 1 extra chance to escape. So he will be able to escape 3 times and not only 2 times. And in my opinion, that is a really nice addition and a very important addition, because again, this will make him more secure to survive 1 extra round, and we really need that, especially for DPSs. So that's why his thunder is pretty important as well. And finally, moving to his ultimate, attack the enemies in a column, the enemy in the same column as Choi 14 first. So this is actually new, so we know which targets he's gonna target or which opponents he's gonna target. So depending on his position, he will attack the same column. Of course, increase attack, defense, and crit by 20%, gain the lethal effect, which means that he deals 20% extra damage to the target whose HP percentage is greater than 60%. Okay, and increase on crit that equals 20% of his own HP drain. So let's say, for example, I don't know, he has a certain amount of HP drain, he will gain 20% of that amount as crit, as extra crit, which is okay. Restore own rage by 80 when the ally in the front of Choi is hit in 2 rounds. This is kind of like a sign why would you want to put him in the back row, and of course we're gonna get into this. But yeah, he will gain extra rage if somebody hits the ally which is in front of him. Or Okay, if there's only Choi when deployed, the effect will be changed to restore extra 80 rage when Choi is hit. So it's like an additional tortoise soul for him. Whenever somebody hits him, he will gain extra rage. So it's like a tortoise feature for him. And after Weapon Awakens, the effect will be improved in all-round way. The skill will have extra effects on targets with vicious wounds. So he will be able to do extra stuff if the target has vicious wounds. Of course, I'm gonna say the weapon. So the weapon, if he attacks somebody with vicious wound, he will do 40% extra damage, which is a lot honestly, and he will reduce 60% rage regeneration rate for that opponent for 1 round. So it's definitely worth it to unlock his weapon if you rely on him as a major DPS. Of course, that's the weapon. His water element, the thing that everybody waits for, the smacks. What happens in the smacks? So, first thing, the lethal effect. Remember that he has a lethal effect. It will be double. So instead of dealing 20% extra damage, he will be dealing 40% extra damage. Again, another thing, 40% extra HP drain for 1 round if he attacks somebody with vicious wind. Okay, pretty much he will be targeting people which have vicious winds. He will have insane amount of HP drain. Here we are talking 40% HP drain just like that. So it's a lot. And if no enemy has vicious wind, vicious wound, not wind, apply it to the main target. So let's say usually we said it usually starts with a wound and then it will progress to a vicious wound. However, if he attacks the column with nobody having the vicious wound, it will directly be a vicious wound for the main target. Okay, and if somebody already has the vicious wound, it will be extended for 1 extra round. So most likely he will be casting the vicious wound more on the targets that he attacks. In addition to that, finally, if he kills somebody, he will gain 800 rage. And I'm talking 800 rage is a very big value. So it's almost full HP if he kills a target again. So what does it mean? Of course, this can occur twice per battle. So if he kills somebody, he can regain 800 rage. He can do it twice per battle. But it actually opens the probability to make chain ultimates with Choi. He kills somebody else makes an ultimate. Remember that he has a tiger component in his fight soul. He will be able to gain more rage, so this will open the chance for him to make an ultimate again. And this is really nice if you can make it work as a chain ultimate. So you have to make him a major DPS in your team, or else it doesn't really would make a difference. So that's why if you want to go for the water element, you should be working really well on Choi. Otherwise, it's not gonna be worth it, honestly, especially because of this extra rage addition. Okay, guys, so pretty much that was it regarding his skills. His gate partners, to be honest, I forgot to check. However, if they are available, I'm gonna post the pictures in the video. I will edit the video later and add them. I don't know if they are available or not, but we'll see about that. Most likely they will be easy gate partners. No, not to worry, as always. So, okay guys, so the question here remains, is Choi a good fighter or not? As I've mentioned in the beginning of the video, his time of arrival is pretty good because now they have made him more viable in a way. Because, okay, we know that we want to talk about his DPS part mostly. We know the best 2 DPSs, of course, K and Mature, most likely. So, here if you are still using K and Mature, I think you might not need Choi, honestly. You don't really need him. K and Mature are still doing a great job up to this point. They are great DPSs. Choi, of course, now here you should notice that every new fighter offers more than the previous ones, that's for sure. But I mean, K and Mature still have a high life, I don't know, like more usage in your team. So you don't really have to change them for Choi, okay? However, if you are not using K and Mature, you skip them for a reason, you can go for Choi because he is a great option as a DPS and you kind of need a good DPS in your team. However, if you are, let's say, still waiting for a future DPS, if you can hold it for an extra few months, you want to skip Choi, I think the next DPS that should come after Choi is Terry. Okay, Terry from KOF'98. I suppose he's a really great DPS as well. If you can hold it up to him, then that would be possible. If not, well, yeah, why not going for Choi? He is a safe DPS, I would say. He doesn't really die easily. He can have all those buffs, increasing the crit, increasing his attack and everything. I would say he's not a bad character, but at the same time, not a game changer, to be honest. In which teams should you use him? Nah, we're not talking about that anymore because most of you are using the Mizuchi meta, so it's just about filling the DPS spot, most likely. I would recommend, of course, if you're going for Chang, I mean, just to unlock the Fate, it would be a nice bonus, let's say, to go for both of them. I don't know, just to get an additional attack to unlock the Fate. But that was pretty much it for Choi. Now, yeah, I guess this is it regarding his skills. Now going to the runes, which runes can be good for him. I mean, typical DPS as usual, because he most likely makes an ultimate in round 2, depending on your priority. Of course, you can go for either Wolf's Anger or Dragon Tiger. Wolf's Anger if you usually have lower priority, Dragon Tiger if you have higher priority, basically. So this is of course to increase his attack. You can go for Killing Soul, you can go for Gazrak, and I mean it's just about managing the timing of his ultimate, with which fight soul. I think here I mixed them up actually. Wolf's Anger if you usually, okay, I messed it up a bit. So here you use Dragon Tiger basically if you have a higher priority, because you will get attacked. By round 2, you will have enough rage for him to make an ultimate, so you use Dragon Tiger, it will be activated by that time. However, with Wolf's Anger, it will be activated in round 1, so if you have already higher priority, he won't make an ultimate in round 1, so it won't be really a good idea to do it. So if you have lower priority, you go for Wolf's Anger. I hope I was clear and not messy. It's just always I repeat those stuff all the time. So yeah, just let me know, of course, if you need extra tips for the runes. But pretty much those 4 options are, as usual, the best for DPSs. Now finally going with the 5th Fight Soul. Again, usually for DPSs you don't really rely that much on 5th Fight Soul. Yeah, I mean it's straightforward. War God would be good to give him extra crit and extra damage for a specific fighter. Storm. The Storm is always questionable because it's such a valuable fight soul, so you should know on which targets to use it. I don't know, on Choi I don't think it will be that important to use it on Choi, honestly. No, you can go for War God if you have it available. Other than that, there isn't any specific fight soul that can work exclusively well on him. But yeah, I think this was it, regarding Choi. Everything probably you should know. So yeah, let me know your comments about him. What do you think? Are you going for him or not? This really opens the possibility for a different change in the whole arrival of fighters and the whole order of fighters, so we can never know anymore. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any idea, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.